Without missing a beat, she said there's a disfigured child in the basement calling for help. What is the creepiest unexplained thing you have ever come across on the internet? When I was a kid, I had some cereal that had website to visit to enter to win some prize or something. I don't remember the specifics. Anyway, when I entered that site into my computer, it didn't take me to some kid-friendly site or anything. It took me to a blank white page with just the text. "We have been watching you." This happened when I used to play Minecraft a lot back in like 2013 to 2014. I was with a friend on Skype and was trying to find other people to join to play a game in the lobby, and I asked this one guy if he wanted to join. He gives me his Skype and my friend, and I add him. Then he starts inviting us to a video call and only one of us could join. My friend joined and started screen sharing, and this guy, who was probably like 12 or 13, was laying on his bed naked and had tied his legs and an arm to the bedposts and started jaking off. After that, I stopped inviting random people to Skype. Was casually surfing when I stumbled upon a video of a guy doing shotgun loading tutorials or something. The video was cut half and he was speaking another language and the gun accidentally went off and he blew his head clean off. I don't remember the website name or anything. I was just surfing funny videos to pass the time when I saw this. The amount of blood that went flying everywhere was horrible. I was just 11 when I saw this, so it practically scarred me bad. It still chills me when I think about it. This isn't the internet but more on a call. I was on a call with my girlfriend who was in Germany at the time, early 2019, when suddenly she seemed to be repeating what she was saying from a while back. I got confused and was trying to ask her why she was repeating herself before I realized that her voice was being looped back. I didn't realize the loop point or how far back it was, but she was clearly saying the same lines as she did before. When I hung up and called her back, she asked me why I hung up on her and didn't call me back. Then during the second call, it happened again after 3 minutes. I've never been able to explain why this happened and has never occurred again before or since. Definitely gave me the creeps and more than a few thoughts that I was living in a simulation. I rang my mom on WhatsApp to do a video call. When she answered, it was a man with his shirt off, middle-aged, 50s, with glasses on, sitting on a couch. It sort of looked like a hotel room. He had a foreign accent and said, "Yes? Hello? Who is this?" I hung up immediately and rang my mom again, and she picked up and she was on camera walking around near a pond. It was absolutely bizarre and has never happened again. Update: these theories about my mom having an affair or teleporting from this bloke's room to the pond are both salacious and hilarious. Keep them coming, the more outrageous the better. Humanbeef.com. I tried to find it on the Wayback Machine, to no avail. It was super creepy though. Edit: ostensibly, a place to purchase meat, human meat. They had testimonials and photos, artistic renderings of processing employees wearing masks and of the final product. It's been over 20 years, 1998-ish, since I saw it, so my memory is a little faded. But I'm pretty sure the URL was humanbeef.com. I remember the color scheme being white and turquoise. Anybody else remember it? Edit 2. I guess it was manbeef.com, not humanbeef.com. That said, according to a hoax expose website, it's now, quite unsurprisingly, PRN. I didn't verify, but you've been warned. So, I decided to just type in something like mm.com or something like it. Coca-Cola used to, or still does, own a URL like that. But just the same letter maybe 13-15 times. It came to a choppy video of a movie called South 32. It was cryptic and edited to just say South 32 over and over again, for 4 hours. So, I tried a different letter. Same thing. And another letter. Same thing. The same website popped up for maybe 20 different URLs in that type of sequence. I tried submitting it to the Internet Mysteries subreddit, but it didn't gain any traction and I don't believe it works anymore. This must have been 4 years ago now. I changed the email address attached to my Amazon account. A year later I forgot and tried to sign into my account with old email address. The same password worked, but it was someone else's account, name and address was different, and the guy hadn't bought anything. Why did he use my old email? It was unique to me and didn't match his name, and how did the password end up the same as mine? The time 4chan figured out how to get into the White House's networked warning system. Edit, context, okay, so post 9/11, the thread said that there are these phone systems that are IP phones set up throughout the government and they can be called during an event, the number is automated, and a woman's voice will start reciting numbers and phrases, indicating instructions to the person who was given the number to begin with. Usually things like orange, orange, orange 5.3.1. I found out about it because someone posted it in 2011-2012 or so. It was just the number and a picture of the White House. Thread was also cross-posted on /x/. In the thread, someone started posting codes that actually worked and progressed people further into the automated system. I read Kyle Odom's manifesto on here. Basically, he was this mentally ill ex-Marine who was convinced he was being telepathically manipulated by aliens. He believed their main hideout was in this church and he had to kill the leader to make it stop. He ended up firing an entire clip of hollow point bullets into the back of the preacher of that church. The preacher made a full recovery, which was deemed a miracle, and Kyle Odom was arrested throwing his manifesto across the White House fence. This is all a true story if you look him up. I didn't come across it, but once when I was around 15 someone hacked into my computer. This is 100% true and I tell it as a cautionary tale often. I had a FTP file server at the time because I was in a long-distance relationship and we would send stuff to each other via the file server. One day I noticed someone had downloaded all of my photos from the server. I called my boyfriend and asked him why he was downloading stuff he already had. He swore it wasn't him. I ignored it until several days later a screen opened on my desktop that was a window for my webcam and was on with me on the screen, and a chat window opened. The person told me that if I didn't take all my clothes off they would use my mom and dad's credit cards to buy all sorts of things. Luckily my parents were super cautious of using their credit cards on the internet. This was like 2002, so I knew he didn't have their card hashes. He had used the FTP server to upload this chat video program, and who knows how long they had been watching me. I freaked out. I unplugged my computer and unplugged it from the internet and didn't turn it back on until I was prepared with fancy firewalls and security for the FTP server. I tried calling to police and my internet provider, but no one could help me. And that's how I learned hundreds of IP addresses and what they were. I watched my firewall like a hawk. I never heard from the hacker again, but it sure scared the shit out of me. Now I cover my webcams. There was a sub about methods of switching universes in the multiverse. The sub had a number in the sidebar and people would swear that they successfully switched universes because the number was different or a partner has a scar they didn't before, stuff like that. Anyway, it just stopped, no word as to why, no nothing. Everyone just stopped posting and commenting all of a sudden. Sadly, I cannot for the life of me remember the name of the sub. I believe you are thinking about r-dimensional jumping. They decided to switch to a new sub at r-dimension jumping and keep the old one as an archive, at least I think that's what happened. It looks like the latter sub hasn't had any new posts recently either. A few days after we got an Alexa, my wife and I were playing around by asking it random questions to see what she'd say. We asked her to tell us a story. Without missing a beat, she said there's a disfigured child in the basement calling for help. As a teenager looking for PRN, I stumbled across a website which looked like one of those live cam sites, but then I noticed most of the people weren't engaging with the audience, and they were all kinds of people. Old people, kids, people of all different ages, ethnicities, and whatnot. I clicked on a random live stream of some oblivious teenager doing her homework, and the people in the comments were saying stuff that made me realize she didn't know she was being live streamed, nor did anyone else on the site. It seemed to be some weird website of hacked webcams or security cameras where the people had no idea about it. It was creepy as FCK, and I've never kept my webcam pointed at me when not in use since. This happened last month. I was watching random stuff on YouTube when suddenly I started listening to guys talking with a calm music in the background. One of the guys had a strong Russian accent. They seemed to be playing something. I thought it was some YT video I opened, but it wasn't. I started to close everything until everything was closed. There was only Steam opened, but I wasn't in any voice chat or anything, and no media was playing, like stream or anything like that. It seemed to be some private call I got in, so I closed Steam and the two guys talking stopped, so I guess somehow I got into a random Steam private voice call. I remember back in the day you could type in Meet Chat or something like that in the Google search bar and then hit the I'm feeling lucky button. It would immediately bring up a page with a dude covered in P-op. I used to download movies using one of those illegal apps. I was a teenager, about 16. Perverts loved to title hardcore, illegal PRN Disney titles. You never knew what you were going to get. Sometimes you'd get Disney movies, sometimes you'd get edits with Disney intros and title cards, then it would cut into PRN. I'll never forget the time I downloaded Goofy movie and it was a horse and a woman. It was awful. I remember I cried and deleted it immediately. I didn't tell anyone. You wouldn't download a car, and for months I expected the FBI to show up and arrest me. Wow, those were some interesting stories. Anyways, thank you for watching the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more quality content. Leave a comment if you have any suggestions. Goodbye.